Welcome in to 704 Unfiltered. I'm Nick Sertivant, weekly show where we highlight Black voices in our community, folks making an impact, folks making a difference in our community. We have a guest, a special guest. She got on me before we got in studio. She said, "Only you, Nick, can get me out of the sweats and in here in studio." But it's worth it. She's doing something for a great cause and really great story. Venitra White-Dean. The Frankie May Foundation. How are you doing?
We are good. We are good. We actually just celebrated our 4th anniversary in January.
I was just about to ask that. The anniversary that kind of got mixed in with all the snow and ice. And
Yes. So we pivoted. We're going to actually celebrate this month at our monthly meetup. So we'll celebrate our 4th anniversary then.
When you look back 4 years, how is that? Have you got a chance to sort of process 4 years worth of work?
It is wild. So I never, ever, ever imagined that it would take off the way it did. Mm-hmm. But when I think about it, it makes sense because the need is there. The need is there for caregivers. And so in one aspect, I am surprised, and the other aspect, I'm not, because caregivers need that community. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Did you have that community? Because we'll start from the beginning. Because your mother dealt with Alzheimer's, and you were a caregiver.
Yes.
Did you have that community?
Not.
And I don't think I've asked you that question before.
But not to where the Frankie May Foundation feels that need now. My community was my immediate family, and then my mother was at adult daycare. So, just the people at the adult daycare, but it wasn't as robust and as inclusive as what the Frankie May Foundation offers. I mean, I had close friends. I'm in a book club, so every other month I could be with the ladies in the book club, but it wasn't like I had that constant support group that I needed.
Let's start from the very, very beginning. From Charlotte?
From Charlotte, born and raised.
Which is, I've been running into a lot more Charlotte natives recently. But if you just ask random people on the street, they're like, "There's not a lot of people from Charlotte here." But there are a lot of people from Charlotte that's still here. What was it like growing up? What was your mother like growing up? What was all of that like?
So my family was, so my mom and dad were married for 50-something years before he passed away, and I'm the youngest of 4 children. So my brothers and sisters might have a different description of how I am, but youngest of 4, we had a very close relationship. I mean, my parents, my siblings, and it's funny because my 2 older siblings are like 10 and 12 years older than I am, so it was like them and then me and my other brother.
Oh, you the baby.
Yeah, so the 4 of us, when we were all in the house, it was kind of chaotic, but it was good. We had a really good childhood. My parents, like I said, together for 50-something years. My father was a pastor, and we grew up knowing that we had to give back. My parents gave us, so we had to give back. So I grew up with that mentality that to whom much is given, much is required. And that is what I'm living out right now. Just, it was instilled in me. And I'm thankful that my parents did instill that in us. And each of us in our own way are doing that.
I knew we connected over more than just meeting, doing the story, initial story a couple of years ago. I'm a baby too, my family. My brother is about 9 years older than me. I have a half brother who is almost 60. He has grandkids.
And it's funny because like my older brother and sister, when we were growing up, I knew that if mom and daddy didn't get me something, I knew I could go to the ones that are 10 and 12 years older, because they were working like high school jobs and all that, so I could still get what I wanted from those older siblings.
What was, before we get back to the family, how Charlotte changed in your time being here? Because it looks, feels different.
Totally.
And what
different.
keeps you here? What keeps you grounded here?
So, like I said, born and raised here, south side of Charlotte. I went to, elementary. We called it junior high school back then. It was elementary. I went to Nationsville Elementary, Kennedy Junior High, Olympic High School, all south side of Charlotte. And my parents moved to Huntersville in 1996. And I remember, like, because however old I was, I don't feel like doing the math right now. But so just going to see them, and Huntersville was country. Like, there was nothing up in Huntersville when my parents moved there. So just to see the growth on the outskirts of Charlotte, and then just Charlotte in general, it's mind-blowing to see the growth.
Well, I guess what kept you here in Charlotte? I'm always interested.
My siblings.
Okay.
My siblings are here, and
I met your older brother, who's a pastor.
Yeah. So he's still here. My sister's still here. The nieces and nephews. So the whole family is here. So this is home.
When did you notice a change with your mom? Because the foundation, the organization, is named after your mother. When did you notice a change? Because I told you my grandmother had dementia, and what triggered it and what we noticed was after my uncle passed away, and she did not grieve. It was one of those weird, I don't even call it weird, but it was one of those things where she just kept it together. And we were like, oh man, she's just strong. And slowly but surely, she would forget things. She would forget to do little things. She would, I think maybe a month after he passed away, she had mentioned, oh, Keith is coming by the house. And we all kind of looked at each other like we saw a ghost. It was like, oh, Keith is dead. Keith is my uncle. Well, like, if Keith
comes to this house, we all...
we all must be with the Lord. But it was one of those, like, she was forgetting things that she forgot that he died. I guess I say that long story to ask, like, when did you notice a change?
So similarly, like I said, my father passed in December of 2010. And I used to speak to my parents every single day and never noticed anything. We would visit. At this time, we were living in Concord, closer to Midland, so it's like a 45-minute drive. So we would see them in person at least once a week. I talked to them every single day, never really noticed anything. But once my father died and we moved in with Mama and we were with her 24 hours a day, we started noticing, asking the same question, telling the same story. And one time she got lost, but I didn't think anything of it. We were just, my dad died. Yeah. And this is a life change. And I even talked to her primary care physician, and he's like, Venitra, and he had known my parents for years. He said, this is a life change for her. She's going through a lot. Let's just watch it and see what happens. And it was, like you said, I don't remember my mom, like, really grieving. Like, it just wasn't the grief, the crying, not to where I saw it. And so I think similarly to your family, I just didn't think anything of it. But as the time went on and we were with her, like I said, when you're with somebody for 24 hours, you know more than talking to them on a phone for 30 minutes. Because she was very good at compensating and very good at hiding what was really going on. Yeah. And the thing that really got me concerned was she started accusing me of stealing. And so I'm like, no, this is more than just life change. And talked to her physician again and told him what was going on. He said, bring her in. We'll send her to a neurologist. We went through all the testing, and we got the diagnosis in 2012. So From the time we moved in early 2011 till 2012, so about a year, we started, just watching her and until we got the official diagnosis.
Oh, wow. We want to come back to that. Let's take a quick break. Venitra White-Dean, the Frankie May Foundation, will be back here in just a few. All right, welcome back here on 704 Unfiltered. Have a great guest here, Venitra White-Dean, the Frankie May Foundation. So you're talking about seeing the changes in your mom, and this is not just like you're talking about life-changing or lifestyle changes or something happening that change. This is like something pretty significant. Like this is something that you're like, whoa, this is not my mom. Mm-hmm. You say she accused you of stealing.
Yeah, accused me of stealing. Yeah, and so like I said, we went to the doctor and went through all the testing and got the diagnosis. And I think when we got the diagnosis, I had absolutely no clue what Alzheimer's really is. I know growing up, when we heard Alzheimer's, we just thought, oh, they forget stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot more than just forgetting stuff. If that was the only thing we had to deal with, we would have been fine. But, just as the disease progressed and her needs became more, and, the saying is if you see one person with Alzheimer's, you just see that one person, because there are some characteristics that most Alzheimer's patients go through, but there are some things like elopement, which we call wandering.
Yeah.
But Mama never wandered. We never really had an issue with her wandering. But Mama did become violent. Like there were times where she would lash out, and I caught the brunt of it. Richard caught the brunt of it. There were times at the adult daycare that she was violent, but with medication, with learning how to redirect and doing things like that. And then she just kind of went through that stage of being combative. And it wasn't her, it was the disease. Because if you knew my mom before Alzheimer's, my mama was the prim, proper first lady. Like we couldn't even say like words like darn in the house, or we couldn't call each other stupid, or like my mom was very, very prim, very proper, sweet lady, never said stern words. But once Alzheimer's set in, and there were times Mama would say some stuff that we would like brace ourselves, like what's next, like what is she gonna say, what is she gonna do. And and then we can laugh about stuff now and joke about stuff now, and even in the midst of it, we would have to laugh and have to joke around.
You have to
stay sane. Yeah, it was it was a lot. And then it got to the point where she was pretty much dependent, like 100% on.
Like she couldn't walk anymore.
Yeah,
okay.
It got to the point where she couldn't walk anymore, so it was wheelchair. When we called hospice in, it was wheelchair, and then losing the motor skills, so the incontinence and having to feed her. There were times she could still feed herself and that, but then it got to the point where, as it progressed, it was all hands on deck, 24 hours a day. So
and it's like you kind of miss it, weirdly enough. I know, like, you go through, even with my grandmother, she went through that combative stage as well, would say some stuff that as a church woman, as a deaconess, I didn't think I would hear from her, but you missed that because you could hear her, you heard her voice.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where it was just silent. You just some head nods maybe, but nothing. It was nothing.
Yeah.
Your mother passed away in 2020?
Yep, September of 2020.
When your mother passed away, how did that change you?
It was I thought caregiving was tough. Life after caregiving was tough in a different way. We were in the midst of COVID when Mama passed away. And so we were at home. It wasn't like I could like really get out and be around people and do things just to get out of the house. So I am in the house and she's not in the house. And I was so used to, like we shut down in March of that year.
Yeah.
And so from March to September, it was in the house with her all day, every day, making memories, just spending that quality time with her one-on-one and just being in her presence. And all of a sudden this is cut off, like she's not there. It was hard. It was hard. And I did go to therapy. Shout out to therapy.
Shout out to therapy.
Shout out to therapy because a lot of people shy away from therapy and in our community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's getting much better.
Yeah.
But,
I agree.
You know, oh, we're praying for you. You know, let's just pray. Well, I need something other than prayer. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So hospice actually provided therapy services, free therapy services, and I took advantage of that. But then one thing I found out about myself, and I hadn't heard the term before, but we were doing group therapy sessions on Zoom, and I was feeling worse after the Zoom sessions because I was taking on other people's grief. Yeah. And I told the therapist, I was like, I feel worse. And she said, you are a sponge. And I never correlated that. But she said, you take on other people's grief and you hold on to that. And I told her, I said, after this, I am going to need some one-on-one because I'm listening to the other stories, and I'm like, well, my situation isn't as bad as theirs.
It's like a little bit of guilt.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I still have a husband and a daughter at home with me. There were some people in the sessions that I remember distinctly. There was a lady and her husband and her brother all lived together, and her husband and brother passed away during COVID, and she was home by herself. And I was like, I just could not imagine being in the house by myself, dealing with two deaths. And so, you know, I was just like, I can't imagine. And so then I did therapy, one-on-one therapy, and just trying to navigate life after caregiving because I had focused so much of my attention on Mama that trying to do things without Mama being there was a lot.
Is that when, I guess, I don't know if I'm missing some steps, but is that when you were like, okay, I need to do something to help others, or and support myself as well too, right?
A few months before she passed away, you know, I was sitting at home, and I just remember sitting on the couch, and she's laying in her hospital bed, and we put a couch in her room so I could just hang out in there with her. And I'm sitting on the couch, and she's in the bed sleeping. I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, there has to be something that I can do to help other people when this is all over. Because this is a lot. And I thought about it, didn't know what I was going to do, but I wanted to help other caregivers because I'm like, nobody should have to go through this alone. Yeah. Like, this isn't what we are designed to do. We are designed to be in community. We are designed to be around other people. We are designed to help others and to receive help. And it was, like I said, a couple of months before she passed away, that seed was planted. And once she passed, I talked to my siblings and let them know what I wanted to do. And here we are 4 years later.
4 years later. We're going to get back to that. Let's take a quick break. More from our conversation with Venitra White-Dean Frankie May Foundation. We'll be back in a few. Welcome back here on 704 Unfiltered. I almost said Live Impact News. 704 is out of habit. 704 Unfiltered. Venitra White-Dean, Frankie May Foundation. So you were talking about the starting the foundation, or I guess where the seeds were planted. 4 years later, talk about what you guys do, because you do a lot of work. I feel like you are always doing something, and when I say doing something, I mean doing something in a good way. Mm-hmm. But you're always doing something. The nonprofit is always doing something. Explain to the folks what you do.
So what we do is we provide on the basic level resources for family caregivers. Digging in a little deeper to what we do is so our program service, our main program service is our monthly meetups. And so once a month we meet at Weeping Willow, AME Zion Church in East Charlotte. And at those meetups, we have someone to come and talk about resources for the caregivers. It could be someone from a funeral home. It could be someone from an attorney's office talking about the legal paperwork that caregivers need to have in place. It could be someone from Department of Social Services. So every month it's a different speaker to come and talk about the resources. We have lunch. We do a fun activity. We have a caregiver store, so the caregivers can get incontinence supplies, durable medical equipment. And all of our resources are free. And if the caregiver needs someone to sit with their loved one, we have several different home care agencies that we pay so that they can send someone to the house so that the caregiver can come to the meetup. And then, so those are the services that we provide, but we can't do this, again, community. So we partner with other agencies to provide. I talked about therapy. Yeah. We have an agency that provides free mental health therapy services for our caregivers. I am not a therapist, so I can't do therapy services.
Right, yeah.
So we have someone to do that. We partner with another agency so that our caregivers can get free grocery delivery or free pickup. And then other resources, if the caregivers need minor home repairs or things, it could be something as simple as installing a grab bar in the shower. Yeah. We have an agency that does things like that. So it's just a wraparound support group for the family caregivers. And if it's something that they need that I hadn't thought about, then we do what we can to make sure that we find out what is in the community that can help the caregiver and whatever their need is.
The biggest thing you've learned in your 4 years of doing this
is everybody is different and everybody's needs are different, but caregiving is caregiving, and they need all the support that they can get. And sometimes you don't know what you need until you need it. So I think in these 4 years, and we have evolved with the needs of the caregivers, because when we first started, what I had anticipated wasn't what we're doing now. I had just anticipated just a support group, just a simple support group. But the caregivers let us know every month. We ask the caregivers, what do you need? What do you want? And we have just evolved. The therapy services wasn't originally part of our plan, but because the caregivers said that that's what they needed, we found a partner in the community that could provide that service for us. So it's just every time something comes up, we do what we can to make sure our caregivers are taken care of.
Look, if you're at home watching this right now on your phone, look them up. Frankie May Foundation. I did have the website up. Is it FrankieMayFoundation.com? Yeah. I just want to make sure I get it right. Yeah. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to get it wrong now.
Yep, FrankieMayFoundation.com.
Venitra might beat me up now. No, she's not. But check them out. They do incredible work. I got a chance to go to one of the meetups. This is actually how when we first met. Yeah. Over a year ago. almost 2 years ago. They do incredible stuff. Those annual meetups, those are like a good time. There was a party. There's a band there, I believe.
Yeah, we had a band there that day.
I don't want to promise a band every time, but there was a band there that time I went.
If they want a band, we'll give them a band.
There you go. But they do so much work. Thank you for stopping by as always. You can check out Venitra. She's everywhere in the community. Check out the Frankie May Foundation. And look, thank you for watching 704 Unfiltered. Again, we highlight Black voices here in our community. If you know somebody that wants to be on the show, not your cousin or your uncle, but if you know somebody legit, reach out. 704 Unfiltered. We'll be back next week.